Welcome to the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast, the show committed to helping you dismantle the destructive mindset programs keeping you stuck in the proverbial bunker of poor performance so you can get out of your own way and play to your potential. My name is Paul Salter. I'm a high-performance hypnotherapist and mindset coach with 16 years of experience helping thousands of individuals like you get unstuck. This podcast features a collection of solo episodes, conversations with scratch and plus handicap golfers, and master classes with top experts in the performance psychology space. The one goal? To help you make playing to your potential a habit. It's the hottest weekend of the year. By early afternoon, the temperatures are already lingering between 90, 92, 94 degrees. It is hot. The sun is strong, and the alcohol is even stronger. And although it may be the hottest day of the year yet, the hottest weekend of the year, it's also member weekend at Tampa Palms Golf and Country Club. Welcome to another episode of the Scratch Golfer's Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salter, the golf hypnotherapist, and I had the absolute pleasure, privilege, and honor of participating in my club's member this past weekend. And boy, was I humbled, was I cheered, did I learn an incredible amount, did I play great and do some amazing things? And did I play poorly and do some crazy things? All of that and more is going to be recapped in today's episode. I'm so thankful I get to share this experience with you. And we are going to leave no stone unturned to the best of my ability, breaking down my experience navigating 4 days of shenanigans, playing 18 holes on Friday, 27 on Saturday, another 18 on Sunday, which was by far the most golf I've played in such a short time frame. Did my body hold up? Did the alcohol get the best of me? So much more to unpack, and I will preface and be incredibly candid from the start. There's a slight chance this episode might seem a bit disorganized because, frankly, I have so much to share with you, so much about my first ever member, truly my first ever match play tournament style event. And I'm hopeful it comes across well articulated and organized, packaged in a manner that allows you to take some digestible, tactical action steps, or at least provides you with a few subtle perspective shifts in your own belief system, attitude, and progress toward your goals. And before I do that, I'll remind you, I'm so grateful that you tune in and listen to another episode of the show every single Thursday. I've got some phenomenal guests lined up in the pipeline. Dr. Joseph Parent, the author of Zen Golf, among many other fantastic books, will be on the show next Thursday. We're breaking down everything related to Rory's Masters win, Justin Rose's triumphant finish and push for second place, and so much more in that episode. I've got Josh Nichols back on the show, Sean Dykoff, Stephen Yellen, Justin Tang from Elite Golf Academy, and I'm incredibly excited that I get to share these conversations with you. If you found value in the podcast, the conversations to date, do me a favor, hit pause, take 30 seconds, go down on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you're listening right here, right now, and leave a genuine review. These reviews, these ratings go a long way in, bolstering the credibility of the show, bolstering the good standing of the show that allows me to bring on phenomenal, brilliant, incredibly intelligent guests like the ones I've listened and like the probably 3 dozen or so that have already graced us with their presence and time on past episodes. So do that now. I appreciate you. And the other reminder I have is every Friday morning, I send out a newsletter, the More Pars Than Bogeys newsletter. Similar content and context as to what we discuss on the podcast, but obviously in written form. Quick, digestible newsletters in your inbox every Friday. If you're serious about becoming the best possible golfer you can be, you need to begin prioritizing cultivating your mental edge. The free newsletter that is delivered to your inbox every Friday is a phenomenal tool and resource to help you do just that. There's a link to get that delivered every Friday. Again, absolutely free in the show notes below. Let's dive in. Like I mentioned, my first member. I've been a member at my golf and country club, Tampa Palms, down here in Wesley Chapel, just north of Tampa, Florida, since early January. But if you remember, I joined when my son was about 6 weeks old. So haven't really had the chance to maximize my experience and membership to date. And truthfully, as excited as I was when I first heard about the member, I thought there was about a 99% chance I was going to be able to make it happen. I had so many coaching calls scheduled for that Friday, and I'll break down kind of the series of events across the 4 days in a moment. And then I also had a 4.5-hour breathwork workshop scheduled for that Sunday afternoon. And I paid a decent amount of money for it. I was looking forward to it, and I'd committed to it long ago. But I received a call from my friend Corey, who is a member of the club, phenomenal golfer, the one who actually took me out as a treat round there many months ago and was the biggest influence as to why I joined the club. He's an incredible golfer and somehow an even incredible, more genuine human. So shout out to you, Corey. But I get a text about 10 days from the member because we had golfed together about a week prior, and he was kind of just dropping a note like, "Hey man, you sure you can't make the member work? I've got a guy who wants to play. He's joined the club recently as well, similar timeline, and he doesn't have a playing partner." And, well, as fate had it, I pulled some strings, I rescheduled some calls, I shuffled a few plans around, and I made it happen. So this 4-day event kicks off on Thursday. Thursday's an optional round. I couldn't make it happen. I had to front load my week with calls since I was removing all of them from Friday. But I did have the opportunity to jump in and join the cocktail hour kickoff that Thursday night. And most importantly, I had the opportunity to go meet my playing partner. Hell of a dude, great golfer, and we hit it off. I can't wait to continue golfing with him as we continue building our friendship together. And Pat and I got to game planning. And by game planning, I meant sharing a drink, sharing some food, and just getting to know each other, creating that camaraderie from the start. Because Friday morning was an opportunity to start putting that camaraderie on the line. Friday's round was called Beat 66. And inevitably, it was a practice round, but it was an opportunity to start getting out there. And the format and framework of that was best net low. So best net low between you and your partner was what got logged on the scorecard. And again, the goal was to beat 66. Money's on the line. But most importantly, I believe there were either 8 or 10 flights of teams. Candidly, we were in the bottom flight. I was registered with the 22 handicap. He, I believe, was a 14 and change for this particular tournament. And again, it's a practice round. You're playing with your playing partners are a pair that are also in your flight. So you're getting to know people, and it's a great time. And I'll tell you what, at the end of this episode, I'll break down kind of my framework of what went well, what could have gone better, but I'll go ahead and share it now. I hit 12 fucking fairways that day. I was a monster off the tee box. Inevitably, though, that's where the monster mentality, the confidence, the execution stopped, as I could not get myself on or around the green consistently the remainder of the round. We did not break 66. But it was an incredible experience starting to get to know people, starting to build relationships with other people in my club, meeting new faces, having great conversations, and really just beginning to understand what it was like being immersed in match play rules, kind of the order of operations, if you will, some of the formalities that are absolutely overlooked when I play with friends and play ready golf and have a great time. And I'll tell you now, one of my biggest learning lessons was really a compilation of many learning lessons around USGA golf rules, around USGA match play rules. Because on Saturday, we had 3 9-hole match play competition rounds and another 2 on Sunday, 5 rounds to determine the winner of our flight. And I learned such an incredible amount. Ball placement, when you hit it OB, when there's a red line versus a white line, match play rules, order of operations, order of hitting, and all of this at times challenged my patience. I did, however, do a phenomenal job being a sponge. If I didn't know, I did not hesitate to ask a question, whether I asked Pat, my playing partner, whether I asked our actual opponents. There were so many things I did not know, and so many potential opportunities for violations or asshole playing partners to challenge me, call me out, and dock us a stroke. I will tell you that every twosome we played, whether we were winning at the time or losing, was incredibly kind and gracious to explain the rules. They knew I was green. Pat himself was fairly green, new to the club. And I'm very grateful and appreciative of that, because I've heard the horror stories, not even being back into the mix of golf for quite a year yet. I've heard about the asshole playing partners. I've heard about the douches at the club who, will nickel and dime you, even though they're a 30 handicap for every single rule violation, just to get a one up on you, just to try to collect some type of edge. And at no point did I let that bother me. And I learned so much specifically related to how I've been holding myself back and making holes harder when it comes to placing the ball if I find myself in across a red line with an unplayable lie, and where I can place it when I hit my next shot. So I learned a lot that'll actually, when I do find myself OB in the future, will make it a little easier to recover, to save par, save bogey, whatever it may be. So that was great. And the way I wanted to structure some of these lessons and takeaways was also to connect the dots to how these same experiences show up in life as well. And I'll lead with cheating, egoism, lying, were fucking rampant throughout the couple of days. So-called miscalculations or misremembering of scores, hits. Was your ball OB? Was it an unplayable lie? Wait, didn't you just take a drop? Wait, you did find your ball? That doesn't look like your ball. And I won't get into specifics there, but I think it was a really good eye-opening reminder that there are going to be so many aspects that occur on the course during a given round, as well as in life, that are beyond your control. And you are not judge, jury, and executioner. There's a lot you cannot control. You can, however, always remain in control of your attitude, your effort, your mindset, and your actions. And there were plenty of scenarios that both Pat and I found myself in which a score did not make sense from our given competitors. And, it raises an interesting question. In some instances, it didn't matter. We won the hole, or we were out of the hole so much that it didn't matter. We lost the hole. Other times it's like, I think that shot would matter. I don't know this person. I'm new to the club. How do you begin towing that line in the gray area of speaking up in a professional, non-confrontational way to promote a kind, gentle nudge to double check the mathematical addition you have made to arrive at that score that seems a couple strokes off? So I know for Pat and I, it was kind of a bit of a small talk dialogue, like, do we bring that up? Do we ruffle little feathers this early and double check things? And I thought for me, and this is just speaking from my personal experience, didn't ever really matter except in a couple of instances. And it really created an opportunity where I could have gone into a shell, not worried about not spoken up, but instead finding a creative way to just nudge. Hey, what'd you get again? Remind me, did you take a drop there? And just finding just subtle ways to double check, non-confrontational. You didn't need to come across like an asshole, just to get clarity. And a couple times either him or myself did that. There's either an experience where we were wrong, like, oh, okay, yep, you're right. It was a 5. Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that. Or that other person's math was wrong. And it was easy to work out the solution and get to the correct score because of the way we approached it. But I thought for me, and as I witnessed in stories and kind of just hearing conversations throughout the weekend, people become increasingly and easily frustrated around all of these little shenanigans to gain a little edge, shave off a stroke here or there, promote a better lie, whatever it may be. But so much of it is beyond your control because at the end of the day, you still have to play your ball, your shot, and put the ball in the cup. And I remind you, there are many things that you are wasting energy on. You have so many energy leak opportunities throughout a round. You've got to be incredibly mindful and audit yourself about where and how you may potentially be leaking energy, worrying about something beyond your control. Now, building off of that, what I found fascinating as well, and I was very aware of this, but getting to live it in real time, I mean, holy shit, the degree of anger, the degree of negative self-talk, and we'll unpack that with more detail and examples here shortly, the degree of just like, fuck the maintenance crew, how dare you put a pin placement here, like, woe is me, victim mentality. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, like, I need you to hear me loud and clear. You have such an opportunity to cultivate a strong mental edge advantage over your playing partners, peers, and competitors. Because you've seen it like I have. Maybe you're someone in the midst of struggling with it right now. Thrown clubs, tossed clubs, broken clubs, cursing out yourself, cursing out your playing partner, and just the negative body language, the blame, like, fuck this guy, can't believe the pin placement's here, this condition sucks, this lie is awful, how dare the course be or look like this. It's rampant. And if you can laugh at that and not let the negative energy of someone else penetrate your energy, emotion, self-talk, and actions, you can really cultivate a strong competitive advantage. Takeaway here for you is, are you auditing your self-talk? Are you working on building emotional resiliency, priming your patience muscle and exercising it accordingly? Are you working on dialing in consistent, ruthless execution of your routines, your pre-shot routine, your ability to practice passionate acceptance of a shot's outcome and move on to the next one? Because with these intangible tools and skill sets, you're going to be able to create a strong competitive advantage over your peers and over the previous version of yourself to shoot better scores, to collect more W's, and hopefully put some more money in your pocket. So really hear me on that. And there was even a situation in one of our competitive rounds where I specifically looked at Pat. I was like, look, our playing partners are bickering like 5-year-old girls, or maybe the better analogy is they're bickering like an old married couple. They're yelling at each other. There's a fuck yous, fuck thises. And it's just like, dude, I looked at him. I was like, dude, our biggest advantage, because they were good golfers, is like us working together, like keeping each other cool, calm, collected, focused on one shot, not letting one of us, kind of dismiss and feel defeated and out of the hole prematurely. And it really proved to work out well for us. And the last point I'll share before I dive into some recap specifics with more learning lessons is this. Sorry, it's 4 a.m. as I record this episode. A drink of coffee was needed. Tournament golf just hits different. I mean, the pressure, the consistent elevated heart rate, the excitement pulsating throughout my body every step of the way. Oh man, I fucking loved it. And it was intoxicating. And if you're listening and you haven't put yourself out there, and not even just a member, but in a tournament environment, what are you waiting for? And I'm not even talking about the recreational scramble, the charity events. Like, those are great. Do those. But something where a little bit more pride, ego, and money is on the line. I mean, I absolutely was just over the moon, excited, enjoying, soaking up the moment, truly relishing it. And I talk about this in one of my recent newsletters, the More Pars Than Bogeys newsletter. What I just described, the excitement, the tension, the elevated heart rate, that's a physical response of readiness. And depending on your unique experience, you might label that as nervousness or anxiety, performance anxiety. You might label it as fear. You might label it as excitement. But all three of those descriptors, labels, emotions, it's the same physiological reaction going on in the body. It's up to you to choose how to label it. So I highly recommend you check out that newsletter. But hear me on this. I chose to confirm and label it as excitement. I loved being there. I had so much fun. When my playing partner was out of a hole and he would tell me, dude, it's up to you now. Or when I was standing over a 12-foot putt to win or have the hole, like I relished those moments. I wasn't successful in execution in all of those moments, but I was so proud of myself for being able to remain cool, calm, collected. And I know that as the technical aspect of my game catches up to where the mental aspect of my game is, I am bound to make a sudden surge down the handicap index. And it's a matter of fucking time, because I think one of my biggest takeaways was how well I handled the all-encompassing aspects of routine, discipline, patience, and presence throughout however many rounds that was, 36, 46, 56, 66, 63 holes in 3 days, something like that. Really proud of myself there. But again, tournament golf hits different. I can't wait to start playing more tournaments. Thoroughly looking forward to the next one. Okay, so let's dig into the actual money aspect, the pride, the ego aspect of the member weekend. Like I mentioned earlier, 3 9-hole matches on Saturday, match play, net low wins. 2 9-hole matches on Sunday. Flight winners obviously go to the shootout, and then there were 2 wild cards. So what was awesome is on Friday, I alluded to, we did not play well. We did not score well. And the pair we played with happened to be our first opponents on Saturday morning. 2 guys from Massachusetts area, Boston area, known around the club as the Massachusetts Mafia. Loved that. Great guys, good golfers, thoroughly enjoyed the experience with them. But what was interesting is, again, Friday, Pat and I didn't play well. We got our asses kicked. But it didn't matter. It was more of just a fun game, a practice round, an acclimation to the environment and getting to know people. Saturday, though, real deal. And I was primed. I was ready to rock. I think I only had 1 drink on Friday, and I'm not much of a drinker to begin with. But I was like, okay, I really want to be locked in on Saturday. I want to be locked in on Sunday. And Saturday, we come out, we get our hole assignment. We're on the 14th hole to start. And the reason that's noteworthy is because the 14th hole is the furthest hole away from the golf course. Tampa Palms has a unique layout, to say the least. Where 5 and 15 are, it should be 1 and 10 near the clubhouse, but I digress because I don't even quite understand the layout yet. I'm a bit geographically or directionally challenged. And I also don't know the layout of the course well, considering I've played it fewer than 10 times to date. Pat's in the same boat. He joined her on the same time. He's played the course fewer times than I have. I thought we were following our playing partners at one point to meet out on 14. We weren't. The reason I share that is because we got fucking lost. And with a shotgun start, it took us probably an additional 12 minutes to get to our hole. Everybody else has teed off, hit their second shot, and we arrive about 10 to 15 minutes late, driving left and right, turning around. It's a mess. But the reason I share this with you is twofold. Number one, and I love Pat, and I'll call Pat out on this, and he knows this. He was flustered. He was so fucking flustered. He was so concerned about what our playing partners were going to think. He was so concerned about not rubbing people the wrong way. He thought it was just rude that we were so late. It wasn't a good look. And to be candid, I hear all that. I understand it all. I gave 0 fucks because I knew we're still going to go play 9 holes against these 2 people. They're not going anywhere. They can't start without us. But I bring it up because it was an interesting dichotomy. Pat is a bit flustered. He's rushed. He's anxious. He's tense. He's tight. And I'm, not talking him off the ledge. I'm just like, dude, relax. We're going to be there in a couple minutes. We'll figure it out. It's all going to work itself out. So we get up there. They had already teed off. They were playing from white tees. We're playing from blue. No problem. Again, the Friday round with them helped. We already built that relationship. That connection was there. They laughed at us, and that was that. Well, guess what happened next? This guy stepped up, still patiently executed his pre-shot routine, and striped his drive right down the fucking middle of the fairway to set the tone for the day. it was awesome. Pat had a shot, hit it in play, not his best shot, but we're rocking and we're rolling. And if I remember correctly, the details might be a bit flipped. We took the first hole, they took the second hole, and then we halved 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 is where things get interesting. I'm playing well. I'm not playing the absolute best golf of my life, but I'm playing well. But on our 7th hole, and Tampa Palms, again, the order of holes and operations a bit unique. You know, we essentially, I think, went like 14, 15, 16, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something like that. But our 7th hole, it's not the 7th hole on the course, is either the first or second hardest hole on the course. It's a par 5 where you can't really hit driver if you hit driver more than 240 because there's a big hazard in the middle of the fairway. The fairway narrows significantly. So I took a 5-wood, hit it a bit thin, hit it only like 200, 210. So that leaves me, I'm in the fairway, and I got to hit through the little narrow hazard into big open fairway before then having to take an approach shot to a peninsula light green, water all the left, all the front, and bunkers all on the right. Pat's out of the hole. Pat hits it OB off the tee box, hits it OB again, and he's out of the hole. So I hit another 5-wood from the fairway, beautiful shot. I give myself about 112 yards to the center of the green, which is where I'm aiming. The pin is back left position, so if I'm short of the hole, I'll have a nice uphill putt. So I take my gap wedge and I stick it to like 8 feet. I stick it above the hole though, so I've got a downhill, pretty fast breaking putt, or fast moving putt with a little bit of perceived break. We'll come back to that. Well, one of our opponents is out of the hole as well. He's chunked one and he's sent another one in the water. So it's me and this guy left. We each get a pop. So it's, an even playing field. And he hits his approach shot. It's almost like he thinned it and hit a low liner over the water. And it looks like it should have went 100 yards deep buried into the forest. Motherfucker hit every tree and then some, and the ball pops out and lands on the other side of the cart path, still in play, like literally right on the red unplayable line. Okay, hole's not over. He's still in it. I've got an 8-ish or so foot putt for birdie. He is hitting his 4th shot from that unplayable area. He chunks his chip, and he's up on it's kind of like a second cut. It's not the fringe. It's not quite thick rough. And he's got a downhill 20 to 25 feet. He can chip, bump and run, or he can putt it. And he fucking sinks the putt. I'm like, oof, that hurts. I left the par putt a half an inch to the right of the cup. It didn't drop. I couldn't get the gust of wind I needed. So we halved another hole. So we're all square going into 8. And sadly, I think our 8th hole happened to be a par 3. I pulled my shot. I'm in play. Pat hit his long. They took the 8th hole, and I think we just didn't play well in the 9th hole. I don't quite remember exactly what happened, but they ended up taking 8, ended up taking 9, winning those first 9 holes. But there was so much to take away with, because yesterday these guys kicked our ass. And even though we weren't playing against each other, there was a clear stark contrast in skill level, or at least, who showed up to play on Friday. And we held our fucking own on Saturday. I mean, I walked away really motivated. I was like, okay, we still have a chance. Absolutely. We can win our flight. We can keep collecting points. We're playing well. The camaraderie, feeding off each other's energy between Pat and I, fantastic. The next round, we take, I forget the exact score. We win our second match. And going into the third match, you have to start realizing the context of the situation. Pat's had a couple of drinks. I'm still sober at this point. It's fucking 93 degrees. And I think our third match didn't start till 2 or 2:30 in the afternoon. We've played 36 holes of golf in about 24 hours. And the body's starting to break down. Just dehydration is rampant. And inevitably, we did not play well in the third match. We lost, I think by the 7th hole, it was all wrapped up, unfortunately. Didn't play well, but there's still a chance, because first, second, and third get paid out during the Calcutta on Friday night. Some some crazy person put a lot of money on Pat and I. There's a lot of money in the pot. There's a wild card spot up for grabs for the shootout that we could potentially grab because most points earned on Sunday alone gets a spot in the shootout. So plenty of incentive and opportunity. But I'll tell you this, on Saturday as a whole, 27 holes of golf, my pre-shot routine, consistent. Not 100%, but probably in hindsight, 95, 96% execution. My biggest lesson and what I'm most proud of from those 27 holes was how well I stayed in the hole. You know, if I happened to hit a drive OB, I didn't give up. I didn't skip my pre-shot routine or bring on a defeated mindset and body language. There were so many holes where in the moment it might have felt briefly like, fuck, I'm out of it, or we're going to give this one away. But instead, I ruthlessly committed to my process, my routine. I stayed in the fight. I stayed in the hole, and I salvaged so many holes. When Pat was out of it, it felt like we had a slim chance. I came back and hit a couple great shots, and we halved the hole. We stole a couple because they hit a few poor ones, and we won the hole. And it was just incredibly motivating for me. It really lit a spark under my ass. It was a stark reminder of just commitment, staying in it until the hole is absolutely done. Because even on Sunday, there were a couple opportunities where we could have lost a few holes in a row, but we halved a few, we took a few because we stayed in the fight. But me especially, I did not give up, surrender, throw in the towel at any point. Except once when I literally hit 2 shots out of bounds in a single hole, and Pat was on a tear putting for birdie, so there was no point. But I'm proud of how well I stayed in. And my reminder here for you is you can absolutely hit your first shot out of bounds or hit a bad shot, punch out, and still save par. This is your reminder. Still have a birdie look, save bogey, whatever it may be. You're one shot away from doing something phenomenal. Stay in the fight. Focus on one shot at a time. You know, building off of that too, my ability to shrug off, laugh off at times, a poor tee shot, a poor previous shot, to free myself up to hit a good shot with the next one. It was well executed. And for you, the reminder, bad shots are going to happen. Mishits are going to happen. They're few and far between depending on your handicap and skill level. But occasionally they are going to happen. How will you respond? Not react. Remember, reaction implies an unconscious automatic process, usually rooted in a negative, destructive emotion. Response implies conscious choice, a sense of freedom, a sense of empowerment, choosing how to respond. So the next time you hit a poor shot, you suffer a poor lie or a poor circumstance, take a breath. Be intentional in how you choose to respond. On Sunday, we've got 2 more rounds. We're 1 and 2 from the day prior. We're not out of it. There's still a chance. I will say, humbling learning lesson number whatever I'm on for Paul was, me and alcohol still don't go well together. Had a couple drinks after our third match on Saturday. And literally, I think I had 4 beers over a 3-hour time frame. And oh my goodness, I can't do it. I can't do it, guys. I mean, the alcohol just knocks me on my ass. I didn't sleep. I got like 3 hours of sleep that night, partly Benson induced, partly alcohol induced. And I just kind of carried a headache the first couple of hours of the day, despite hydrating like a champ. I mean, I had multiple electrolyte packets Saturday, Sunday morning, a little extra coffee. It just, alcohol and me don't mix. But regardless, we were locked in, ready to play to the best of our potential on Sunday. And you know, I'm just looking at my notes here as I recap. There were a couple of moments on Sunday, you know, on the hardest couple holes of the course, given where my handicap is, you know, I get 2 pops, 2 strokes. And I made par twice on the hardest hole. So a 5 for a 3. So that was fucking cool. Unfortunately, as a collective, we did not play well on Sunday. Pat will be the first to confirm he played well below his potential. And I bring that up because it was a unique experience to, you know, be alongside your partner who you're rooting for ruthlessly. You want to see well. And candidly, Pat and I had known each other for 72 hours. Thank goodness we hit it off and vibed so well. We're friends. We're going to hang out after this moving forward. It's great. But it's like, okay, what's the game plan for mediating, moderating, managing my playing partner's emotional state, his headspace? He knows what I do, yet you don't want to facetiously be an asshole and be like, dude, stop talking to yourself like that in a confrontational way that might trigger him more. I don't know what buttons to push with him. And there were definitely stretches on Sunday where there was a fuck it, defeated attitude. And he just felt like he couldn't hit the ball, couldn't control the ball to save his life. Drivers or clubs were tossed, and fortunately not thrown vigorously, just tossed in disbelief. Like, what is going on? So how do you rein back in your partner to give yourselves a collective fighting chance as a team? And how do you not let it affect you, your attitude, your energy, your processes, presence, and game? And that was a unique experience because, again, we're emotional beings. Emotion is nothing more than energy. So the energy is felt. The emotion is seen. It's heard. It's felt. It's experienced. And fortunately, I had no hesitation in telling him, like, dude, listen, get it together. We're one shot away. You're not out of it. And just really peppering him strategically with positive reinforcement, attempting to build him up. And there were spurts that seemed to work well, spurts, not so much, especially our last round. And not just him. I played like absolute ass the last round. But we had such great playing partners. So I guess that's the silver lining, if you will. But for me, too, it's just recognizing, even in some of our prior matches, the energy of others, the anger of our playing partners. How do we not let it affect us? And we've got to have the tools, the skills, such as breath work. We need to be strategic in walking to our ball, to get away from the cart, to get away from the competitors, the energy, the attitude, the words, the bitching, the moaning, the complaining, to protect our energy. So the takeaway for you is, do you have the skills, the tactics, and strategies to protect your energy, to reinforce your boundaries so you can keep cool, calm, and collected and able to have the energy, presence, and focus to hit your shots and play to your potential? That was something I got to navigate for the first time in real time to that degree this weekend, and I'm very grateful I did. And there's also a moment I wanted to share. I forgot to. I believe it happened on Saturday. And we were playing a match. Was it Saturday? One of the matches. It's regardless. And it was just very evident early on that one of our competitors did not rubbed my playing partner the wrong way. And he definitely got to on my playing partner. Like, nothing significant was done or experienced, but just like the tone, the way of conversation, the mannerisms, the way this gentleman carried himself. Pat was not a fan, but Pat could not let it go. Pat could not stop talking about it. Pat could not focus on his game, his shot, his rounds. And I share this just as an example because I know you listening has likely had a similar experience. Have you let somebody get in your head? Have you let a playing partner or opponent take your power? Why? You need to unpack that. You need to understand. You need to really become aware of how destructive that is to give away your power to somebody else. I mean, our competitor was living rent-free in Pat's head for the vast majority of that round. It took him away, robbed him, and leaked him of the energy necessary for Pat to play to his potential. And I know it might seem like I am calling out Pat. I'm using Pat as a great example because I love Pat. I thoroughly enjoyed playing with him. I was guilty of so many mistakes and mishaps and missteps as well, as was every single person out there. These are just my relatable examples because I was like right there living it with him. And there were many times where playing partners and opponents triggered me. I had a lot of awareness around it. I found my breath very frequently to reset, recalibrate, and move onward. The message here for you is, are your playing partners, are your competitors living in your head? Are they taking your power and presence away? And if so, what are you going to do about it to reclaim that power so you can play to your potential? So to recap on Sunday, nothing really fell into place. We did not perform well as a team. I did not perform well individually on Sunday at all. I was inconsistent and erratic off the tee box. I thinned a couple shots and just Had a lot of unfortunate bounces as a team too. It seems at Tampa Palm, if you don't hit the fairway and you hit some of the mounds that line the left or right hand side of the rough, they are just designed to kick hard into out of bounds or into the forest. And that's unfortunate. Well played, well designed Tampa Palm. So didn't play well on Sunday. But I will tell you, of the 5 rounds, 2 of them in 9-hole stretches were the best scores I have posted at that particular course. 47 and a 48 on 9 holes. It wasn't the exact front 9 or back 9. However, I share that because it was encouraging. I see the potential. And the other big win I will say is during our first match, which we lost by a hair at the final end, I only lost 1 ball. And some of you listening, you're chuckling. But for me, that's significant. Tampa Palms is fucking tight. If you don't hit the ball in the right places, again, it's designed to bounce OB into the forest. You'll never find it. There's water everywhere. So that was a big, big win for me. Kind of using that as a transition, what went well? I mentioned Friday I hit 12 fairways. That was awesome. That had to be a new record for me. I was so proud of myself for not giving up in specific holes, in specific rounds, like I alluded to. There were so many punch outs I had from terrible, deep, rough, forest-like lies that I salvaged a good hole. I salvaged bogey. I kept us in the fight, and I had some weird-ass lies. I couldn't see where I was hitting. I felt like I was balancing on one leg. Really cool punch-out shots. So I was very proud of myself for that. I was so grateful for Pat for giving me kind of constant coaching nuggets and technique feedback technique feedback's maybe not the right description, feedback or advice on how to hit a certain shot, what to do when I found myself in some of these unfortunate circumstances. Pat was caddy of the fucking year. I putted so well. What I learned is I do not read greens well, to say the least. Pat would point, give me my spot, my mark. I putted the ball incredibly well when he did that. My speed control was pristine, best it's ever been for me. But there were a handful of times where Pat was telling me, like, here's your aim point, and I was seeing it as the complete opposite. And he would walk me through his process. I actually picked the brains of a couple of our playing partners who I noticed were incredibly good at reading greens and putting as well. And that's something I'm really going to work on, really, really going to work on. Otherwise, I came in with a game plan. I had my preferred club selection for all 18 holes in the notes app in my phone. For off the tee box, what distance it would leave me with, therefore what club it would leave me with. And I executed that ruthlessly for 4 out of the 5 rounds. The last round, I think I leaned a little bit more towards the aggressive or maybe the overly conservative line, depending on how I was feeling, of just get the ball in play at some point. But I stuck to that well. I stuck to my pre-round warm-up routine really well, stretching mobility at home, hitting some balls in my garage before then hitting some more balls, putting and short game work at the course itself. What could have gone better? Bunkers, bunkers, bunkers. I've never been in so many bunkers. Now, granted, I've never played so many holes in 3 days, but oh my gosh, did I live in the bunker, and I could not get out to save my life. That was my biggest source of frustration, to say the least. I cost us a handful of holes because I could not get out of the bunker to save my life. There were a couple holes it took me 2 or 3 shots, or if I did get out, the ball went all over the place. Candidly, I've never had a formal bunker lesson. I've had some formal conversations about it. I get it. I understand how to do it. That's on me. I have not put in the time hitting out of bunkers. And guess where I'm heading the day you are listening to this, on Thursday? To the range, to the course, to hit out of the bunker. So that sucked. And I noticed, a little tinge of dread when I saw my ball ended up in the bunker as I was walking and, preparing to hit that shot. That sucked. I lacked confidence. I lacked faith in myself, my swing, my ability to get out. And that's not a place to play golf from. So that is what I will be prioritizing in practice. I still lack confidence in my swing. My iron, my short game is improving. It's improving. I feel confident in my putting. I mean, it's ever improving, but I've always been a slightly above average putter. I see and feel the progress in my tee box and my driver and my fairway woods off the tee box. My iron play is still inconsistent. And my propensity is like, I don't want to hit the ground. It's like I am afraid to hit the ground. And that's so silly. I'm laughing right now as I'm saying it out loud, but that's my miss. I hit the ball thin, or I don't get a really solid, consistent trajectory. It's really about going back to the drawing board there, meeting up with Coach Melvin. I'm putting together a big list of practice areas of focus and action steps for the next month. Today is May 1st when this episode comes out, so I'm going to have it all dialed in by the end of the weekend here because it's not acceptable. I hit some beautiful approach shots. I hit some fucking disastrous approach shots. I think I only topped or shanked less than 5 shots total throughout the 63 holes, which is great, but I did not hit approach shots to my potential. I was inconsistent with my long irons. And although I trended well off the tee box, especially Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and weren't nearly as consistent, there's still too many poor shots. I'm still costing myself too many strokes. Which then leaves me with, okay, where do we go from here? And the context of this first action step I'll be prioritizing is I found myself really struggling when I had significant above my feet or below my feet lies. I think there's a knowledge gap there on what to do and how to compensate for the ball's likely influence trajectory based on that lie. So I need some specific coaching and lessons there. I still need to better learn how to align and pick a target from some of my approach shots and then factor in the lie. Is it beneath or above my feet? There were many times I hit some incredible high quality shots and it just didn't go where I thought I was aiming, or I wasn't aiming in the right place. And fortunately, these are all fixable. And I'm so grateful I played so many holes of golf so consistently in such a short time frame, because I got so many pieces of data and information to work with and to build off of, to utilize in putting together a practice plan. I also noticed that, sometimes I had a fairly decent draw on the ball. Sometimes it was a pull hook. Other times it was straight as an arrow. And I need some better understanding as to why that's happening, and continue working on cultivating consistency in my swing to produce a consistent outcome and expected result and shot shape. And then I need some green rating lessons. I mean, putting speed, there's always going to be ample opportunity to improve and plenty to work on. But I felt that was the best speed control I've had to date this year. And I just need to learn. I'm not going to have Pat with me every round I play moving forward, who did a phenomenal job both reading greens and putting as well. Saved us many times. I didn't quite see what he and everybody else were seeing on the green. So a lot of room for improvement there. And that's my experience. My first member, Tampa Palms 2025, had an absolute blast. Loved the experience, the group of men, the staff, loved the course, the experience. I'm so grateful I joined. Shout out to my friend Corey for taking me out back in December and giving me the nudge to join. It was absolutely been an incredible investment so far. Shout out to Dr. Jason Ovetsky on episode 27. He has a friend down here who I was able to meet and connect with. Really great dude. So I enjoy getting to know him, getting to know so many others at the club. The biggest of shout outs to Pat. Thoroughly enjoyed playing with him, learned a tremendous amount from him. Just had a blast. I mean, our banter, our ability just to laugh things off, have a good time, and also flip the switch to be competitive as fuck and to really push and bring out the best in each other. Pat, big shout out to you, my friend. Looking forward to our next round together. And a big shout out to you, my dear listener, my friend. I appreciate you tuning in to another episode. I'm always hopeful and optimistic that through my story, through my experience, even if I'm a little behind schedule compared to where you are in your chapter of golf, and do know I'm going to be where you're at and ahead of you before you know it. So brace yourself. But I'm always hopeful you find learning lessons or takeaways or tactical reminders to help you improve, not only on the course, but away from the course as well. And I can't recommend enough episode 65. That to date has been the episode of my show that has given or received rather, the most positive feedback or been shared with me, it's been the most impactful or transformational. It's all about your ceiling, your upper limit problem, the self-imposed unconscious level of success you place on yourself, the thermostat effect. Highly recommend that if you haven't listened to it, that is your next listen, episode 65. Well, thank you for tuning in. Take that 30 seconds if you haven't done so. Leave a rating, leave a review. It goes a long way in supporting the show, helping me continue to bring on phenomenal guests like Scott Fawcett, Michael Leonard, Mark Immelman, and more to provide you with intense amounts of value every single week. Have a phenomenal rest of your day. Hit them straight this weekend, and I'll catch you in the next episode.